Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here from QBKing77.com. Hope you guys had a great holiday with family, friends. Hope you got some new gadgets, etc. But today we're going to do another quick comparison video between the Nexus 6 and the Moto X. This was highly requested, so be sure to get your requests for future comparison videos in the comments section. But you'll see a lot of people say, hey, the Moto X is a smaller version of the Nexus 6. However, there are differences, so let's go ahead and talk about them and check it out. Alright, so here's the two devices side by side, the backs of them. As you can tell, the Moto X is definitely smaller than Nexus 6. The Nexus 6 does only have options of white and blue, whereas the Moto X, you have the Moto Maker option, where you can completely customize the front color, the back texture. You'll have to check it out for yourself, but it's really cool. You'll notice the dimple on the back's a little bit different. I like the Nexus 6 dimple. It's less obtrusive, whereas the Moto X 2014 is a little bit more indented. And then on the back, you'll notice they both do have dual LEDs and they both have 13 megapixel cameras. Of course, I do have a Flygrip on the Nexus 6 since it is so large. Flipping it over, I'm going to go ahead and just put the Moto X 2014 in the bottom left-hand corner so you can kind of get an idea of how much larger it is. So there you go. There's just a decent idea at it. I mean, as you can see, there is a pretty substantial difference in the size. You do have a 5.2-inch screen on the Moto X, and then you have a 6-inch display on the Nexus 6. Now, the size of the screen isn't the only difference. The Moto X has a 1080p display, whereas the Nexus 6 has a 1440p display. So the Nexus 6 has a 2K screen, which is a little bit more future-proof. However, the 1080p screen will save you a little bit more battery. I'll get to that when I compare battery in just a second. Now, when it comes to which screen is better, I would go with the Nexus 6. It's just overall a better screen. It is larger, of course. If you can handle the larger display, the larger build, I would say it's better, especially when watching videos, playing games, all that stuff. The bigger screen's obviously a benefit, but I mean, not to knock the Moto X screen. The Moto X screen's great. They're both AMOLED displays, but I'd give an edge to the Nexus 6, especially with the 1440p display. Now, another main difference between the two are the speakers. Now, you'll see both of them have what looks like dual speakers. You'll see it's a little bit more prevalent. They're silver ones on the Moto X, whereas they're dark on the Nexus 6 on the top and bottom. However, they're different because the Nexus 6, both of them, if you're listening to audio, watching a video, both speakers produce sound for stereo sound quality, whereas on the Moto X, only one of them does. They're also a little bit different when it comes to the texture of them. Let's see if I can get to focus. The Moto X one right here actually has some ridges right here, if you can see that, whereas the Nexus 6 is very smooth. So of course I'm an edge to the Nexus 6 speakers when listening to music, of course. Now, camera, the Moto X does have its own camera application. As you can see, you can just point and click, it'll focus wherever, and the Nexus 6 has just the stock Nexus camera app. You can use the stock Nexus camera app on the Moto X. I mean, the Motorola's camera app isn't a huge difference between the Nexus camera app, so I would say camera app wise it's not a huge deal. There's really not much of a difference. You'll see when taking pictures it's not too much of a difference. However, the Nexus 6 does have optical image stabilization, which is a huge benefit when taking pictures. It's a benefit in low light situations as well, taking video. So I'm going to give an edge. They both have a 13 megapixel camera. However, the edge does go to the Nexus 6 when taking pictures and just with picture quality in general. Now, I know a lot of people say the Moto X is just a smaller Nexus 6. However, there are differences on the internals actually. So processor wise, the Moto X has a Snapdragon 801 processor, whereas the Nexus 6 has a Snapdragon 805, which is a bit of a newer processor. So you're going to get a little bit better processing. Again, it's a little more future-proof. The Moto X has 2 gigs of RAM, whereas the Nexus 6 has 3 gigs of RAM, which is, again, more future-proof with just larger software updates and just etc. However, I would say performance-wise, they're very similar at this point. Now, once again, like I said, for the future, it might be a benefit to go with the Nexus 6's better processor and a little bit more RAM. Now let's go ahead and talk about software real quick. They both do run Android 5.0 Lollipop. Both get very prompt software updates. We noticed that with the Lollipop update. Motorola did a great job, so expect that in the future. Of course, a Nexus device is supposed to get the update first as well. So again, they're both running Lollipop here. That being said, there are a couple additions to the Moto X that enhance the experience. Actually, with manufacturer overlays such as TouchWiz, sometimes it gets a little bloaty. However, the Moto features that they added kind of add to it. So Assist They adjust automatically with sleeping, driving, home, meeting. You can turn those off if you don't like them. Actions, they react to motion. I'll get to that in just a second. Wave to silence, twist to quick capture. So twist for quick capture is actually if your phone's off and you go like this twice, it's going to vibrate and open up the camera app real quick, which is a nifty feature. However, it will only open the Motorola camera application. So if you want to use a different one, you're out of luck. Approach for Moto Display, I'll show that in just a second and talk about Moto Display, which is right here. Moto Display is on. Select which apps appear on display. I'll talk about that probably right after this. And then voice, listen and respond. It's very similar to Google now, except you can have OK Google anywhere. You'll see it'll bring it up there. Obviously, I'm sorry. I probably triggered it on your phone as well. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, now I want to talk about Moto Display versus Ambient Display real quick. So Moto Display is on the Moto X, not on the Nexus 6. However, Ambient Display is on both of them. Now there is a difference. Now it's easy to show off Moto Display on camera. If I approach the Moto X, you'll see the screen will light up. It'll just show these white pixels. It is an AMOLED display, so it's not wasting too much battery. It'll also show notifications if you have any emails, text messages, anything like that. I don't have any at the moment, but you'll see approaching it, and approaching this does nothing. However, if I pick up the Nexus 6 and move it around, this is Ambient Display. It will also show notifications as well below it, just like it would on a normal lock screen. So notifications show up here. On the lock screen, they would show up in Ambient Display as well. You can turn off Moto Display on the Moto X, and that will actually allow you to use Ambient Display just like the Nexus 6. However, I like Moto Display better. So props to Motorola for adding this. You can unlock it or go straight to your notifications. It also detects movement, and it's going to turn on this Moto Display as well. Now the last thing I want to talk about is actually battery life here. So you'll see in the upper right hand corner, if you pull down twice or use two fingers to swipe down, it'll show you your battery percentage. These haven't been on the same amount of time, so don't think that the Moto X is that significantly worse. However, the battery life, the battery size in general, this is a 3220 milliamp hour battery, the Nexus 6, and the Moto X has a 2300 milliamp hour battery, which shows the Nexus 6 does get better battery life. However, the Nexus 6 has a 1440p display, which needs more battery life, and it also has a better processor, which might need a little bit more battery life as well. I would say it's not crazy different. It's not as different as you think it would be battery life. It's not amazingly better on the Nexus 6. However, it is better. I'd say I get maybe about 2 extra hours on the Nexus 6 over the Moto X, just from real world use, just trying it out on my own, doing my own things. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt because everyone's different. However, I have noticed that it's better on the Nexus 6, but not as crazy amount as you think it would be. The Moto X still has pretty good battery life. Okay, but that would be my quick compare between the Nexus 6 and the Moto X 2014. Let me know what you think. Overall, my thoughts, I'm going to go with the Nexus 6, especially because it's more future-proof. However, it's huge, so you need to keep that in mind. If you can't handle the 6-inch display or the bigger device in general, go with the Moto X. The Moto X is a great device. I really like it, honestly. I almost think the Nexus 6 is too large. But I'm going to stick with it for now. Like I said, the Flygrip definitely helps out with the bigger display. And I mean, but the Moto X is still a great phone. Don't knock it at all. Don't think it's a lot worse. It's still a great phone, especially for those of you that like the 5.2 inch displays. But let me know what you think. Also, be sure to suggest future comparison videos. I take your your comments into account. So be sure to have your own thoughts on those. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. And thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. All links are in the description of the video below. And thanks for watching, guys.